kids. Looking for a way to affordably access the best and wildest independent extreme horror currently in existence? Godless Horrors is the place to be. Go to www.godless.com to gain access to thousands of extreme horror and splatterpunk books from the genre's best and brightest independent authors. Godless Horrors offers every title in their catalog in a variety of formats to ensure compatibility with your favorite digital reading device. Strapped for cash? No worries. Godless has a fantastic collection of free titles ready for instant download, with other titles in their collection rarely exceeding $3 to $4. Again, go to www.godless.com or download the app and tell them what the fuck you're looking for. Come join the Godless tribe today. Forever delightfully deviant. Forever godless.
So I drink till the night becomes another day, and the day's just another little thing in our way. There's something about the way you beat me down that I'll never learn. You're the pint of no return, the pain in my chest, the stain on your dress, the glass in my eye. But this life is a joke and death is the punch.
Mothers of Mayhem!
Shut up, Clark! Hey! Beep, beep, kids! Beep, beep. Beep, beep. Welcome to Mothers of Mayhem, an extreme horror podcast, you screwballs. Are y'all ready to get knuckleballed? I am. I don't even know what knuckleball really means, but I have no sense of self-preservation, so bring it on.
Bring it on. Let's do this. Today we have the honor that we are going to be joined by an author, artist, entrepreneur, and founder of Godless Horrors, boop, Drew Stepek.
Drew has a very special place in the Mothers of Mayhem lore. Very special. Because if it wasn't for him, this podcast would not even exist.
Nope.
Godless.com is what brought Christina and I together through Facebook via the Books of Horror group. So if Drew hadn't started Godless and RJ Benetti hadn't distributed Hamster's Ball through that platform, and Christina and I hadn't come together to heckle Benetti incessantly on a post he made in the Books of Horror FB group, this deformed baby of a podcast would not even exist. It's like our own fucked up version of how I Met Your Mother. And Drew Stepek is our Barney. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Also, he designed our logo, so that's a thing too.
He did indeed. So thank Jesus for Drew Stepek.
Drew Stepek is Jesus.
Thank Drew Stepek for Drew Stepek.
We need to write hymns for the church.
No, what did they used to do like back in like the medieval times? What are they called?
Chants, like Gregorian chants about Drew.
No, they used to play like the jesters or the minstrels. You know what I'm talking about?
Like in The Witcher.
God.
Throw a coin to your Stepek.
Yes, exactly.
Drew Stepek once fought a pack of rabid dogs in an abandoned pool.
Twice has happened.
And he shoots lasers from his nipples. I've heard rumors that his target accuracy is about 100 yards. Impressive.
He also draws, and sometimes he even. I hope you're sitting down for this. He even writes words. Can you believe that?
Words in sentences.
Even, yeah.
He's way ahead of us in that arena. I am sorry. My kid is being an asshole. Okay, give me a hug real quick. I'm recording a freaking podcast. Okay, I love you. Bye. So yeah, Drew is way more talented than we are. Oh, but the target accuracy of my nipple lasers is about 105 yards.
Ooh.
So suck it, Stepek.
He has something to work up to. He has something to work up
He
to.
better get a move on.
With every episode, children, we have the 3 warnings: the content, the triggers, and the spoilers. There may be language used, that you may not be comfortable with, as well as topics. Shitballs. We will be discussing books, so spoilers may happen, and you can't come back and be like, well, he spoiled it for me, and we'll be like, listen to the beginning of our podcast, ass.
Damn it.
Don't try me.
Oh, we are on fire today.
Fire.
Woo!
Fire. All right, sweet cheeks Magoo. What have you been reading since we last chatted?
Okay, so I just did a TikTok review on 2 of these books. The first one that I'm going to talk about is Into the Woods and All the Way Through by Cynthia Paleo. It is a collection of poetry about missing and murdered women of all ages. We're talking like from the age of 2 to 65 and over. Cases that Cynthia has researched and written these stunningly emotionally impactful poems about. I have never read anything more emotionally gripping in regards to interpretation of true crime. It's absolutely fantastic. If you are a Kindle Unlimited customer, it is free.
Wow.
Cannot recommend it enough. Just stunningly beautiful. We Can Never Leave This Place by Eric LaRocca. I have been talking about this book pretty much everywhere and in every scenario. Like, he sent me the advanced reading copy of this. I read it on my way home from a work trip while I was on a plane, and basically had an emotional breakdown. This book, I said it in my TikTok review, I will say it again, this is a masterpiece. Did you read this yet?
Not yet. It is to be read this month, I believe.
Oh my God. It is effing brilliant. It is just a remarkable interpretation of the trauma of war and how young minds protect themselves from various types of traumas. And the young girl, the 16-year-old girl who's our main character, she already has a very creative mind because she is a writer. And the way she changes her perception of reality to cope and to try to survive, it is just unbelievable.
Wow.
And then
it's on my list.
Oh God, I can't wait to hear what you have to say, because I was shook. So shook. I was shook. Last one I read because of you, friend. The Cosmic Anomaly by Hank Lester, which was fantastic. I really enjoyed this book. I love the way it's written. It's kind of written as if you stumble across the blog posts of these YouTubers. At least one of them writes like in the style of a blog post, but it's like firsthand accounts of this experience that all these people have dealing with these sudden anomalies that start to happen in the world. There is an anomalous creature that basically has a baby for a dick. It's almost okay. So imagine an abandoned town where Clive Barker's Cenobites have just like completely taken over, and everything is upside down and nothing makes any sense, and it rains fetuses, and you can like take 10 steps and like suddenly transport to a whole nother. This book is fucking wild.
Now do you see why when you ask me what it was about, I'm just like, words. See?
was freaking great.
That
definitely.
opening chapter.
Yes, it's
Fucking
that.
gets you.
It's so great. It just pulls
Yeah,
you
it
right
works.
in. Yes, it is available on Godless, and I think it might also be available on Kindle. But if you
It's
have,
on Amazon too.
yeah,
You
just
can buy
go
it.
get it. It is great, and there's a lot of reasons I really loved it, but I could take like 15 more minutes to talk about it.
Right?
What are you reading? What have you read?
I read some really good ones, and I think, yeah, well, all but one was an arc. I read 9 Horror Stories, a sequel by Josh Darling. He had asked me if I wouldn't mind reading it, and it was so funny because it was actually pulled up and I had started it. So I'm like, that's like perfect.
Yes.
There are so many. I mean, there's 9 different tales, like little things kind of tie them together, but they're not in the same universe or anything. There's like zombie cops, clowns, and prostitutes. And
Are there prostitute clowns?
she could be. I mean, she could be, I guess. I mean, I don't know what she does in her, in her off times. She could be a prostitute. I don't know. I don't want to judge her.
Yeah, no, I have mad respect for sex workers,
So,
especially if they're clowns.
right.
I mean,
Well, she's more of a killer
that is
clown.
a niche market.
It really is. But she's more of a killer clown. But definitely go to Godless and pick this one up. Then I read Music is Over by Ben Arzate.
Oh, yes.
Girl, it is
Painful.
I don't even really know how to explain. No.
Will it hurt me?
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh, thank God.
It's like Japanese folklore and bizarro. And
so is it like does it use like the yokai mythology stuff?
The
like they
smiling girl?
Yeah, slit mouth woman.
Yeah, she's not in it. It's like an homage type of deal.
Oh.
But I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. And if anybody wants to, on my page, on my personal Facebook page, I actually write the reviews for all of these, and there are reviews for all of these on my page. And then I read Dead Blood Book 1 by Jay Bauer. So Jay Bauer is actually lives in what is close to my hometown in Southern Illinois. He lives in Carbondale, and that's actually where I got my degree. LOL. It's about as worth, it's like
kill me.
Toilet paper is worth more than my SIU bachelor's degree.
Stop it.
Just saying, SIU sucks. But anyway, Jay, I just happened, I saw it somewhere and I was like, I think I'm going to pick this up. Or he had put it up for an arc. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're from Carbondale. Like, I lived in Hearst, which is like 15 miles away. And this one is, I love the premise, and I cannot wait to read the rest of these. A vampire is the main character, and he is alive during a zombie apocalypse. And there are still humans, but they're hiding. So this vampire can't suck zombie blood, and zombies can't kill him exactly, but they can weaken him. It's fucking phenomenal. I loved every word of it.
Oh my God. All right. So that's 3 more books to put on my hellishly long
You're
TBR
welcome.
list.
You're
my
welcome.
God.
But seriously, it was so good. Like I even told him, I was like, I am so pissed off. I have to wait. Like, but
That's
the premise,
amazing.
but the premise is phenomenal. And I love zombies. And anybody who's like,
Oh yeah,
zombies are played out. It's like,
I have a
kiss my
freaking
ass,
zombie
zombies.
babe tattooed on my arm. Like, bring it. Bring me all.
Do you know
the
why zombies are played out to some people? Because some people don't pick up books. But, like World War fucking Z, get with the independent guys. These guys are like blowing it out of the water right now. So definitely Josh Darling, Ben Arzate, Jay Bauer.
Yeah.
Check them out.
I'm going to have to add
Check
them
'em
all
out.
to my list. Oh, God.
So good. And I actually, I'm getting a signed copy of Music Is Over because my literary fiction heart just fell in love with it. Fell head over heels for it. It's bizarro. I loved it.
Is it only on Godless right now, or did he put it on Amazon?
It's on Godless, Amazon, and you can get a copy from him. I think it was like $10, $12 for a signed copy sent to you.
That's not bad. Amazon's gonna charge you like 18.
And that's what I'm saying. So, definitely, and we've said this before, hit up the authors if you can, afford a couple extra bucks.
Yeah. Fuck you, Jeff Bezos.
I mean, I'm still
Jeffrey Bezos.
I mean, I'm still order from Amazon. Hey, Amazon, sponsor us.
Hey, Amazon. Fuck you,
boob.
pay us.
Yeah, here's some boob.
I'm a Bo Burnham fanatic. So every time I hear Jeff Bezos' name now, I just automatically go to his Jeff Bezos songs from Inside. If y'all have not watched Bo Burnham's Inside on the Flicks of Net, you absolutely need to. I currently have my sister designing a Bo Burnham Inside tattoo project because I'm fucking obsessed. It's just
he's adorable too. He's like super adorable.
Yeah, well,
he's not hot, but he's adorable.
No,
he's
not
cutesy.
No. He's definitely not my type.
He's a cutesy poo.
I prefer swarthy Spaniards and
like
bizarro authors.
Well, everyone knows my type, which is so weird because I either like them, like one end of the spectrum or the other. And then I have like my husband's military, but he's a metalhead. So when I met him, he had like this long hair and he has like Motorhead tattoos and Sisters of Mercy. And but one of the people one of my three, because when you're married, you get that one, you've got that three that you could cheat on and you're not going to get in trouble.
Absolutely.
George W. Bush is one of mine.
Wow.
Yeah. George W.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, you know what? Drew Stepek is messaging me wanting to get into our Zoom chat. Do you think it's time for us to get sliced into pieces by his razor sharp mind?
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, then let's get Laser Tits Jesus in here.
Come on.
All right, hold on, kids. We'll be back in a minute.
Whoop, whoop.
Have you?
Thank you.
Hey, I gave them your name, but how about you introduce yourself to the people? Give them a little bit of information about who you are.
I'm Drew Stepek. I'm a horror author. I'm also the owner and essentially runner of Godless.com and the Godless app and all the Godless shit, etc., etc., etc. That's who I am.
And as we already explained from Christina and I's perspective, he is the reason that this podcast exists. Because if it wasn't for Drew Stepek, Christina and I never would have found each other and we never would have become friends. And this whole Mothers of Mayhem thing would just not be. So
it would be in a different universe.
Yes. You're basically the father of Mayhem.
I heard that the rumblings with the community are that it's Love in the Rocks and that you guys had a falling out. Because
it is true. It is true.
Because Christina's a drunk.
I am, and she has tried interventions, and I'm just like, fuck your interventions, Marian. So it is true. All the rumors are 110% true. I'm actually a hologram.
I just wanted to get to the bottom of it,
And I appreciate you, coming to us first instead of just like perpetuating the rumors. So I really appreciate that, Drew.
Oh, I would never do that. Everyone knows that I don't talk shit ever at all.
Never ever.
He never shares secrets and he has no hot goss to share with anyone.
Nothing.
So the most stand-up guy in the community.
And that's why we love you.
We don't want to say possible sainthood, but we're not going to not say it. I feel
okay.
We've actually
Okay.
already submitted your application for sainthood to the Vatican.
It's in the mail. It's in the
Yes.
mail.
Do I get knighted by the Pope? Nice.
Maybe. What we're
You
going
do.
to need, though, is we're going to need you to sign some paperwork that after you pass away many, many decades from now, we can use your bones or other body artifacts in reliquaries.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I can totally do it.
And
You know, it's-
they're just going to be for me and Christina. They're not actually like going to any churches or anything, but we will require some remains.
It's funny that it reminds me of like when I was in junior high, I was in a band and I was moving. I lived in Minnesota at the time, which is where I met my fiance. And I was moving. I've known her since junior high, FYI. I was going to move and I wanted my band to play at like the junior high, like end of year dance or whatever. So like they were giving me a hard time and they weren't going to let me do it. So I sent around this petition and I walk the halls and I give it to everyone and say, yeah, here's a petition so you can sign this and my band can play and stuff. And then on the back of the petition at the very bottom, it says, by signing this, I'm selling my soul to the devil and all this shit.
Nice.
So it's like these shenanigans that like people always give me such a hard time for. It's like, it's always been like a big joke in my life, right? Like some people are taken back by like the 666 awards and all this dumb shit, but it's seriously, if we can't kind of like look at those type of things and laugh, I mean,
Yeah.
It seems ridiculous. Like,
What's the
like,
point? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like everyone knows that I don't preach Satanism and stuff like that, but I like to goof around with it because I personally am atheist, and I don't see any harm in playing around with godliness. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, yes. In the intro that we just recorded before we brought you in here, we somehow managed to evolve to a point where I nicknamed you Laser Tits Jesus.
I like that.
So
a lot of people are
that's
talking
who
about
you
it.
are now.
They're already talking. They are so fast. The second we say something, it's like it's trending
know.
on like Twitter.
It's gonna be trending. I like Laser Tits
Amazing.
Jesus.
Laser
But-
Tits Jesus.
But I mean that's kind of like the thing of Godless, like overall, right? It's like I approach it with like a certain amount of insincerity that it's kind of a gag. I mean, I know my book Godless isn't a joke, I mean, I know Christina, I know you're reading it right now.
I am.
And I know that I didn't approach it that way back then, but I look at it now as like, it's like, why does everything have to be so fucking serious all the time? And it's like, and I saw someone, I think maybe it was, I'm going to say Tim Eagle, maybe he posted that he had some books eligible for the 666 awards. And someone's like, like on his post, and it's like, dude, if you can't see that this is a joke because there's a cartoon devil with a fucking beer gut standing there, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like, think about that. I'm not trying to shit on your religion or piss on your beliefs, because that's not the case at all. Lisa, my fiance, is a very spiritual person. She worked at like a mega church for like 10 years. She knows I'm not fucking serious, And if I was this fucking heathen scumbag devil worshiper, asshole, then she wouldn't be with me.
Right.
I was raised by an Episcopal priest and a Catholic school teacher. My godmother, who I was given my middle name after, is a Catholic nun. Like
I can top that. I can top all of it. I was raised in a
love all this
Pentecostal
stuff,
church.
though. Yeah, right? Like you have to be able to have humor about this stuff.
And I
there's
think
a reverence to it all. It's how we stay sane.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but it allows for that uncomfortable conversation that some followers have of, I have questions about the Bible. I have questions about my religion, and kind of opening it up and making not a mockery or anything, but kind of giving it a little bit of wiggle room. They can feel a little bit more comfortable. Like, this doesn't make sense. And I think that's a nice conversation that they can have.
If there's one thing in this world that is ripe for satire, it is religion. I am sorry. Thank you very much. Get your plates, your forks, your knives. I know that might be part of a hot take buffet, but it's true.
Buffet. I like that.
I just burped. Yeah, I mean,
I like it.
it's the devil. It was the devil's burp inside.
The devil made me do it.
I just, I don't know. I mean, it's my fault for calling this what it is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, we don't need to talk about it. And it's just as upsetting to me when someone posts like, a blanket post about like, someone said I was this and that and a heathen for putting my books on Godless, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, dude, don't antagonize people to just fucking shit on someone else's religion too, dude.
No.
Believe in what you believe in.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
Do your
like,
own thing, man.
yeah,
Whatever. Actually, a lot of what you just were talking about was really a great lead into the first question that Christina had shared with me that she had for you about your book, Godless. Christina, do you want to hit him with that one? Because I think it's a really great question. This might be the perfect time.
No, I don't want to.
Okay.
Bye. Go shovel the driveway. Go shovel the driveway. I'm sure there's tons of snow out there.
Fuck all of you.
I almost died today driving to the fucking library. Anywho, the book Godless. I'm reading it right now. I haven't finished it. I'm actually taking my time with it because it is very heavy material. And when things are heavy, I want to take a little bit more time with it. The beginning is a gut punch, like from the beginning, and just continues. So we as readers know at the beginning that this isn't going to be an easy novel.
Yeah.
Was there some catharsis in writing this? And the reason why I would ask that is because you actually have a quote from Horror Tree Interview that's fiction helps me take those dark roads again without actively participating. And I absolutely fell in love with that quote.
Might have to get that tattooed, friend. That's not just lip service, but that really speaks to me.
It really does. And so was the book cathartic for you to write?
It wasn't, because at the time I was still very actively using drugs and drinking a lot. And of course, bulimia has always been a big part of my life since I was like senior in high school, freshman in college. Right. So it's difficult to sit down with these characters that I know are based on me. You know what I mean? And to some extent, RJ from Knuckle Supper.
Yes.
Is also very based on me. So it's difficult for me to go down those roads. And that's why I struggle with writing those books. That's why I'm having such a blast writing this stuff like Godless League and, fucking Scumbags, right? It's like, I don't have to really reflect on me and the mistakes I've made in life and, the things that really ail me. And because I know it's there and I know it's probably never going to go away. Right. It's rough. And just like I said, that's why, a Knuckle Supper book comes out every fucking blue moon. And I know people really wish that I would put them out at a better frequency, but it's like, it's hard for me to get in that space. It's really hard as an author to always think about yourself. Even though I only ever write in the first person, right? But it's just, they're dark roads that you go down. Like I was going to originally, before I wrote Knuckle Supper, I was going to write a sequel to Godless, and it was just like, I just didn't want to go there because I was still making myself puke, and I wasn't in a good space, and I haven't done that in a really long time, and I'm happy about that. Yeah, like over 10 years. So I mean, it's like,
that's awesome.
But it's just it's rough. It is cathartic, of course. when I write RJ and I write the Knuckle Supper books, it's like it speaks to me because I know deep down, whether it's subconscious or I'm doing it purposely, that I'm writing about myself and I'm
Right.
writing about how I feel about the world, right? You know, RJ's this old punk rocker who a lot of people kick around, you know, I mean, he's a fucking psycho vampire serial killer, but it's one of those things. He's plagued by addiction. And I'm one of these people who also doesn't really believe addiction is a disease. You know, I mean, I think that a disease is something that you contract, you know, like when people use the term like opioid epidemic and stuff like that, it's
Infectious, yeah.
that's not even a real thing. An opioid epidemic. Because you can't get it. You can't become a heroin addict if someone fucking sneezes in your mouth, right? I mean, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that, you know, heroin addiction or bulimia or, you know, alcoholism or any of these things aren't bad disorders. I just think that we need to find a way to classify it in a way that makes sense, you know? And I'm also not saying that people bring these things on themselves, right? Obviously, as you know, by reading Godless, when that kind of emerged within me, the whole bulimia thing, it was just, it was because I was sad, and I'm not one to ever be a depressed person, right? I always put on a smiley face no matter what kind of situation I'm in. That's just who I am, right? And I'll always deny and refuse to kind of look at my shortcomings where things like that happen. But I think calling it a disease stretch, and you know, that's a very controversial thing for me to say, because I think people are plagued with something, but I don't think that we can compare it. We can't compare an opioid reliance to something like COVID. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
I mean, there's no one in this world who's inflicted more misery on himself than I have, right? You know, but I push that on myself, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I put myself in that position. I know this probably isn't the happy-go-lucky Drew talk you wanted to have, right? But
This is the Drew.
Yes,
This is what we want.
It's all about, you know, the reality of it. And it really, it goes back to that question, like how it's about the processing of trauma through writing it down from the perspective of a different character. It allows you to write about yourself while still kind of separating from it in some way.
Yeah.
And when we fall into the pits of addiction, which I have also done as a trauma response, I was not bulimic, but I went through a phase where I just would not eat because it was a sense of control for me. It was something that I could control. Also, a response to unresolved, unprocessed trauma. And I was a self-harmer because there was a time where I, you know, personality disorder became a part of my life. That is much, much better now. But I was a self-injurer. And these are all things that stem from those adverse childhood events that will happen from early childhood all the way up through into adulthood.
Yeah.
So, and that is how we get to those places. And Christina and I have talked about this a lot. I have a mental health panel discussion coming up, how we use horror to process our traumas, to process our experiences. It's one of the safest ways for us to do it.
Because nobody else has to know what you're reading.
No,
you know what you're reading,
right?
And you can, you know, I'm bipolar, so I have, you know, I don't get manic anymore, dang it, but I do get extremely depressive. And, you know, I know that it's gonna, I can tell when it's happening or about to happen. And I actually will just allow myself to feel sad. And when it happens, I explain to the kids, guys, mommy's not happy. Mommy's really sad right now, because that's something that, you know, and so when they see it or they read it, they can go, you know what, mommy, that's what mommy goes through. And I think even generational, that can help too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people think, especially those of us who are so into extreme, transgressive, subversive horror, people look at us as if we're just like fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
I don't think they understand the deeper nuances to the genre, the effect that it has on our brains as far as neurochemical production goes. Dopamine, adrenaline, and serotonin.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Norepinephrine, like there's so many different chemical reactions that happen when we stimulate our brain with content like this, and it really does allow us to experience catharsis, to experience trauma processing in a safe and mildly disconnected way, where we don't have to look at ourselves, like you said. Like, you're not always interested in taking that deep dive into your own psyche, but when you read books like this, it allows you to do a little bit of that self-analysis in a safer, softer way, and it creates all those chemicals that you love. I loved Knuckle Supper.
Thank you.
And Knuckle Ballad. I know I'm talking a lot, but
Knuckleballed.
Knuckleballed. I'm sorry. My brain's going a
Knuckle Ballad. Hello, here's my book, Knuckle Ballad, written by Drew Stepek and the Professor.
We're talking about all this cool stuff now. My brain's on fire. But I'm interested in knowing more about why you chose vampires for this story that is so obviously about addiction and pain.
Yeah.
Why vampires?
I'll try and make this as short as possible.
You don't have to.
And I was watching this show called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Oh my God, we love that. We're huge Matt Berry fans.
Matt Berry, yeah.
So in the very first episode, they played it on Adult Swim, and I think I'm going to say 2007, 2008. That's where I was introduced to it. And in the very first episode, what's his name? Richard Ayoade.
Yes.
Richard Ayoade, yeah.
He says, "Cool it, Sanchez, or you'll get a knuckle supper." And then when I heard that, and it just clicked. But before I saw that, my intent was to write a second Godless book, right? And I sat down and I wrote the first chapter of that. It was like right during when the romantic nouveau vampire thing was starting to take off.
Yeah.
So I am not a vampire fan at all. I absolutely do not like them. I think there's a handful of things that I like
same.
30 Days of Night. I like Gary Oldman, so I guess the Bram Stoker's track with him. Near Dark, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like I've never been a huge vampire fan. I wasn't an Anne Rice fan. I thought it was too romantic, and I come from this world. The literature that I studied growing up and in college was, I always sided with realism, right? I always sided with Twain, and things that reminded me of James Fenimore Cooper, I was like, fuck this shit. Hey, if you have never read the essays and the letters that Mark Twain wrote about James Fenimore Cooper and Deerslayer and what was the big one? The Last of the Mohicans.
Oh yeah.
In these books, these things where Twain just punches him over and over and over. Like that Twain would test the little things where like what was Pathfinder, Deerslayer, whatever the name of the main Native American was in those stories, where he'd like jump in boats. Twain would actually go out and test that and see if it was realistically possible.
Oh
and then
my God.
Then he'd write essays about how it was bullshit. So that's why I never got into vampires, right? I was always so absorbed with whatever like Samuel Langhorne's Clevens ever said. So like all this other stuff that was romanticized and all this stuff that came off as bullshit, I never latched onto it. So when I heard Knuckle Supper, I thought it would be interesting to build on that, the image that it creates, those two words. And it came out that it was a bunch of heroin addict vampires that actually drank blood out of your knuckles after they injected heroin into your arm. And that was kind of just the start of it. And then I just started getting deeper and deeper and deeper into like what it was about. And it was about like the cost of humanity for these vampire-like creatures. Didn't mean to spit. And the cost of humanity and abandonment for the little girl Bait, who's the prostitute and stuff like that. So I just really wanted to bring that. And of course, you know, I lifted heavily from The Warriors, which is like one of my favorite movies, because I always really
good.
I love it though. I love it.
I was really obsessed with The Warriors and these kind of like different gangs, right? You know, it always seemed like a new boss level in that movie where they go from like one territory to another. And they fight all these different gangs, which is the funny thing about that movie is that the Baseball Furies are by far the coolest fucking gang in that movie, right? They get the best looking shit. And they get their asses kicked in like Like,
well, that was one of the things that I really loved about these books. I actually listened to the audiobooks for these while I was like going back and forth to work. And it was just so entertaining and so vivid. I have a hard time with audiobooks because I have ADHD. My brain tends to not listen.
Yeah.
But the storytelling in these books is so vivid that listening to these stories, I was just so caught up in it. And it was like watching a movie in my mind while I was on the road. And I really loved that aspect of having these crazy gang-like tribes of different vampires. I also am not a huge vampire fan. I also only have a few. To your list, I would just add Blade. Like Blade's one of the other.
Yeah, I like Blade too.
I love Blade. But other than that, like Interview with a Vampire, Twilight, oh my God, please, no, kill me. Sorry to
I've read them.
Twilight fans. I won't.
Knuckle Supper was called out of the gate by this other author and TV producer named Mark Altman, who's like the leading authority on Star Trek. He called Knuckle Supper when it came out the anti-Twilight, which was the best thing he could have done. But looking back at the sensation that it was, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 years ago, whenever it kind of happened, even though I personally don't think Stephanie Meyer is a good author, we can't deny that she got little girls and teenage girls to fucking read. It's the most uncool thing in the world for them. And they were cool.
Thick ass books. Because I read all 4 of them. And I mean, they're thick. They're thick bitches.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
these kids were going through them.
Oh, I don't like them. I feel the same way about Harry Potter.
I don't like them.
I don't like Harry Potter.
You know, I personally loved Harry Potter, and it was very disappointing when J.K. Rowling kind of outed herself as like not a great person.
Yeah, what a surprise that was.
I know, especially with all the Dumbledore stuff. And as my eldest daughter, her partner is a trans man, and so like for us, my youngest daughter, she loves Harry Potter, so it's difficult to like make that transition. But my youngest daughter went from reading like short picture books and jumped right into Harry Potter.
See, that's the thing.
Slamming through them.
It did neither Twilight or Harry Potter, any of these. They didn't speak to me at all. I thought they looked kind of fucking lame, to tell you the truth. But we can't deny how powerful they were and how they got people to read, dude. That's such an important thing because people don't fucking read. Just like you said about audiobooks. I'm the same way, right? I don't think if it were anyone other than Jason Hill that the Knuckle Supper books
he was so good.
Would have been as good as they were an audiobook. But I mean, it's like, because I like to really immerse myself, and I can't immerse myself by listening to something.
Yeah.
Right. I need to read it. But you know, it's just like neither Twilight or Harry Potter. I just didn't dig it. My parents just fucking love Harry Potter. You know, my mom worked at a bookstore for like 30 years. And it's like I just never, ever, ever got into it. I'm like, this is kind of lame, dude. You know what I mean? But I mean, you know, I mean, what a powerful tool that both those series ended up being
Oh
for
yeah.
for literacy. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
we can go as far as to say that, dude.
Yeah.
What
Absolutely.
teenage girl wanted to read before Twilight came out? None.
You know, it's true. My TikTok analytics will kind of back it up as well, because the audience that I am making these videos for now are girls, teenage girls and young women age 15 to 28. Like, those are the people who are interested in indie extreme horror right now, at least through TikTok, which is a younger base,
Of course,
but they make 87% of my audience.
that's a really cool thing, and
It's
that's a really
amazing. Like, these are the people who are buying from Godless now. They're young girls, and they probably started with Twilight and with
Yeah.
Harry Potter. So, like, you have an excellent point. And
Well-
now they're at the point where they're like, I need more, and it needs to be wild.
You know, well, that's like when Knuckle Supper first came out, and you know, I was doing the rounds of being interviewed by, like, you know, Fangoria and like all these other horror magazines. People would like always ask me if my intent was to write the anti-Twilight, and that wasn't the case at all. That wasn't my mission going into it, right? You know, but it's not that I don't appreciate that moniker, but I've always thought that with everything, with every trend, whether it's film or music or books or TV shows, whatever, it's like, you got to think about it this way. At some point, you know, kids are going to graduate from like freaking One Direction and want to start listening to the Sex Pistols, right? I mean, it's like that's just a natural progression of when you get to be a teen, and something that's very jelly bean and candy coated and shit doesn't relate to your life anymore, because you're going through changes. So you'll start getting into something more aggressive and something that's got more of an edge, and that will drive your music tastes forward.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why all of us got into Manson and Korn and 9 Inch Nails and
Hate all three of them.
Tool and like, well, in the 90s, like, they were
Yeah.
like the edgy thing, you know?
Yeah. High school.
So,
It was
yeah.
Marilyn Manson and Tupac in my locker, you know?
Right? WuTang, like
WuTang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. So I'm
No.
just saying. I know.
not.
How dare you insinuate that they're to be fucked with? How
Yes.
dare you
How
insinuate?
very dare the audacity. But you know what? This is why I love the fact that you're doing serials through Godless,
Mhm.
like Godless League,
Yeah.
which is like super fun. And I love fucking Scumbags Burn in Hell. I've read every single one. Oh, see, I am anxiously waiting for my
Look at the-
physical copy
look at the
of
size
Call
of that
Me
thing.
Hoop.
That's a
Look at
thick
this.
bitch.
Call
That's a
Me
thick
Hoop,
bitch.
Season
And like-
1.
Like I was actually on the phone, actually on a video call yesterday or Thursday with. This is awesome that we got everyone in one place together. Peter Caffrey, Danny Brown, Lucy Leitner, John Stepek, the Professor. You heard it here first. Professor is in the second season of Scumbags Burn in Hell.
Shut the front door.
Nick Robinson in the second season of fucking Scumbags Burn in Hell. And
Oh my God.
and there was one, who am I forgetting? Who else is in the call? There's the three Brits, which are Professor, Caffrey, Danny, Stepek, Lucy, me, Nick. That's everybody. And Lucas Milliron couldn't make it, unfortunately. But he's in season 2 too. So we have two spots open that I'm actively going to start recruiting for this week.
So exciting. So exciting.
Yeah, I mean, this thing really took on a life of its own. It was a really risky project. You know, I mean, this is kind of the reason that we launched Godless to begin with, is because I couldn't sell these books through Bloodbound Books, who's my publisher, for 50 cents a piece or
Right.
25 cents. And so like, that's kind of why I launched Godless. And then I got overwhelmed right out of the gate, right after launch. And so I talked to Mark and I'm like, dude, should I just open this up and see if anyone wants to play in my fucking stupid universe? And it happened.
Look at it now.
Yeah. It's a little bit, it's definitely a universe there, Drew.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And when we were talking yesterday, the other day on the phone about where we're going to take it, because obviously we've only really scratched the surface of what's going on in these stories, right? I mean, after you read the profile, and Christina, I think that you read The Diner, which is
I did.
the finale, that things are exponentially going beyond just these stories of Hoop getting even with people and taking them to hell. This is
It'll be good. Yeah.
a much bigger arc, and we had to come up with a way to really massage it and bring it to life without forcing it. Because spoiler alert, we now know that Phillips isn't actually a person that Hoop is pursuing. So the devil is chasing someone for whatever reason. And if you go back and read the stories, I'm sure when you get the full book,
I'm
sure
so excited
that you'll go back and you'll see all this shit that we peppered in there about who this person is.
Yes.
Because I'm doing that right now. I'm doing one section of the book every single day leading up to the release on the 15th right now.
Awesome. I can't wait. Because it was like this crazy project that I didn't think would work. We wanted to do a book anthology series and treat it as if it were a television show.
I love it. Where did the inspiration for the character of Hoop come from?
Strangely enough, when I wrote A Little Bit Country a bunch of years ago, and I wrote it as a submission for DOA 3, which is a Bloodbound book anthology.
Yeah.
And Mark and Joe nixed it, not only because it was too long, because it didn't really, fit, but I always kind of held on to it. And then after Knuckle Supper was done, and before we released the audiobook of Knuckleball, Jason Hill read A Little Bit Country. And so it was when I was doing like these long walks and I had started writing, I had written this book, the Satanic Diet, which is still to be released, and these other books. And then I started thinking about this character, Sonny Hooper and stuff, who, by the way, is the name of a Burt Reynolds character from the movie Hooper. I just started saying, I can do more with this, because I had all these stories in my head. Like, I've been thinking about The Poser for a while, right? And then The Possessor came out, the Cronenberg's kids movie, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I got scooped, right? and then I thought that I could bring these stories like Skid Row Slugger and The Trap House, all these.
Love Skid Row Slugger.
I figured that I could bring them into this universe, because these were all these awful fucking characters, right? They were all these terrible people. Yeah. And then, Lucy and I kind of started working really closely on it when she was writing Karen, and we started developing it further and further and further. What I would be like on my walks, and I would, hit Lucy constantly on Facebook Messenger, and I'd be like, dude, how about this? Dude, how about this? Dude, how about, I was totally driving her nuts, which is the same thing that I did to her with Mad Motherfuckers, which is delayed but still coming, because we got everyone in place for that. And I've got really good cohesion with her as far as writing, because I can bounce stuff off her and she'll bounce stuff back. But before I started the fucking Scumbags thing, I had never collaborated with anyone ever, and I fucking hated it. And I'm like the kind of person who's in a brainstorm and he laughs at other people's ideas and is a total fucking asshole. And then when I started doing this series, I'm like, dude, I can't believe I've been fucking missing out on this my entire fucking career. And now I'm like all about it. Like when I was in the call the other day, I'm like, you guys got to help me here, man. How are we going to get over this hump? And it's just completely changed the way I approach writing, and I fucking love it. And
That's great.
I love working with people. Like the first story in the second season of fucking Scumbags, which we just came up with a date for. I wrote it down. I think it's July 15th is episode 1 of season 2.
Oh my God.
And that's going to be a collab with me and the professor. And
Yeah.
and another huge spoiler that just came out of that meeting. I don't think I'm really ruining anything by telling you guys this. Season 2 is going to be focused on conspiracy and international conspiracy and things like that. Danny Brown's book is called The Roach, and it's a tabloid conspiracy podcast that we've spoken about in 2 books so far.
Oh my God.
I alluded to it in Trap House, and I also talked about it in The Diner. And I don't want to release too much, but I really want to say this one thing that we came up with during the call. Next Christmas, the Scumbag story is going to be written by the professor, and it's going to be based on A Christmas Carol.
Awesome.
Yes.
Right? I am taking notes
Right?
so fast. I am taking notes so fast. It's like I'm back in like school.
This is 100% an exclusive right now that I'm just releasing to you guys. I probably shouldn't have even said it. He's probably going to wring my fucking neck. But Nigel and
I could edit it out in post, but I won't.
No. Don't bother. Let's
It's in the universe.
You heard it here first, folks.
Let's get people pumped about the second season and where everything's headed. I mean,
Hell yeah.
that meeting was so awesome that we had with like 8 people on the call. Just actually 7 because Lucas couldn't make it. And you know, so surprisingly enough, Stepek was very quiet and very
You're saying.
You know, I expected him just to be blowing up and going crazy because I know how he is, but I also know that a lot of it's character, right? I know he's a great guy. He's just an outstanding writer. I was so lucky to get him to write Pink, and I'm so elated that he has decided to do season 2 again. And he is also going to work heavily, more involved with the 4th season, which is going to be called I'll Be You. 3rd season is going to be called Call Me Clyde. So I don't know. It's just, it was one of those things. Like I was voting for the 666 awards, which everyone should go fucking do.
I
right?
did. I did yesterday.
I
Yesterday
tallied
and the day
both your
before.
Yeah. Because, you know, I was just going through all those titles, and even though I was having a difficult time, like, right, it's like voting for like A State of Trance at the end of the year. I don't know if you guys listen to A State of Trance. I'm sure you don't. I do because of the BPM every morning. It's Armin van Buren's radio show. It's just trance. And every year at the end of the year, there's like 5,000 like trance songs that come out at the end of the year, and you got to go vote for which are the best, right? It's like, it felt almost as overwhelming as that to like look at all these titles that I've fallen in love with so many of them.
It is. It really is.
But you know what? Right when I got to Novella or Novelette, and even though I didn't want to vote for myself, even though I did vote for Knuckleballed because it is the best audiobook of the year. I voted for Pink because that story was just mind-numbingly good. Stepek is such a master of his craft, right? And even when I read the first draft, it was almost complete perfection. And I'm like, dude, this is so killer. And I wasn't bothered that he went outside of our hoop formula and stuff like that, because it meant so much more the way that he wrote it. You know, it felt like a traditional episode of Twilight Zone.
Yes.
That had this really, really dark fucking underlying fucking theme. it was just masterful. So I absolutely had to vote for that. And, I feel bad even admitting to that or telling people who I voted for, because I think every single story in the first season of fucking Scumbags was fabulous, and I really struggled with voting, for anything. I probably should have just voted for someone else's book. But Pink, it really spoke to me.
Well, you got to follow your gut and your heart.
Yeah.
Like if that's the one that felt right, then that's the one,
Yeah.
But you're right. It was extremely difficult to vote, and the voting will probably be over by the time we post this. But
Well, the voting doesn't until March 15th.
no, because
Yeah.
you're up well before then. So absolutely. When I had posted a video asking people what their most disturbing reads were of 2021, SC Mendez, he chose Stepek's Pink from fucking Scumbags Burn in Hell. And I was like, oh man, I didn't even think about that. But you know what? You're fucking right.
Yeah. It was so dark. And it was bizarre because when Stepek was writing it, he's bouncing all this shit off me. And I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a fucking nightmare because, he's going to go over the lines of what I think are acceptable. You guys both know that I don't have any pedophilia, anything on the site.
No.
And I just didn't know how far I was going to take it. When I sent it to SE Mark, because he was the editor of all these books, he was just like in the same boat as me. It's one of those stories that really fucking sucks the breath out of you, dude.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know. I don't mean to act like I'm shortchanging Stepek because I know how talented he is. Anyone who's read or heard Separating You or read any of his other shit knows how talented this guy is. But I just didn't know if he was even willing to play in my universe, and it's a big ask. It was a big ask from day one, right? I can't believe that I was fortunate enough to convince Harding to do it, and I absolutely loved his story too. I love all of them. It was so difficult to choose one, but at the end of the day, I had to think about which one really felt like I was getting hit in the head with a baseball bat. And that was the one. Surprisingly enough, it wasn't Skid Row Slugger.
I love that one. I love Skid Row Slugger. Oh man. So good.
I just read that last night.
Good. I love that series. I'm also a huge fan of the Godless League. And I know Christina had some curiosities about the Godless League. Do you want to? I don't want to steal your. I don't want to steal your.
Go ahead. I'm just listening right now.
Why are you stealing shit?
I know.
She always steals from me. I'm like the redheaded stepchild.
Look, I'm the only redhead in the room right now. So
you are.
Got it.
I've been red before. Well, it's just with the Godless League series, they're written obviously by a powerhouse trio. You, Baltisberger, Leitner. How did that unholy alliance come to be?
Do you not know the story?
No, we don't know the story. Tell us.
Okay. So John joined Godless, and he posted something on FB that he was announcing, hey, I'm putting in my books from Madness Heart Press on godless.com, blah, 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 blah. So I said, we're glad to have you, JB, or something like that. And Jared Barbie, who's the owner of Death's Heads Press, said, I'm JB. And John said, yeah, you can have it. I don't like being called JB. And I go, I'm going to start calling you John Stabberger. It seriously, this whole thing was born on a Facebook post. And so John immediately hit me up Messenger, and we started talking it through and talking about what we could do with that. So John Stabberger became this Nazi fighter, Nazi annihilator,
I
who
love
like had
him so
knives that
much.
come out of his body.
Mhm.
So,
Oh my God.
so then I'm like, okay, I got this character. We wanted to limit like coming up with these ideas like 5 minutes. Like we wanted it to come off as almost like childish and something like a
Mhm.
13-year-old would come up with. And so I'm like, okay, my guy's name is Jack Slaughterdozer, and he's like made out of concrete, and people call him the Doze, and he fights gentrification and shit like that. And so that was my character. And then we started talking like, dude, we should really do this. So I went and bought the URL Godless League like that day. And then I go back to him and I go, you know what, dude, we need we need a female character. And I go, would you mind if I reached out to Lucy Leitner? I've been working closely with her on a couple of different projects and see what she's got. So we did a group message, which we still constantly talk back and forth on. And she came up with Lesh Butcher. And that's how it was born. It was born 100% from a Facebook post. Like the
That's crazy.
completely down and dirty freaking creation of an indie project, the way an indie project should be created. Right?
Grassroots.
Yeah, we didn't want to overthink everything. You know what I mean? It's like as soon as you start overthinking something and making it about like, we wanted this to be about fucking nothing. Like we even though the stories have gotten a lot deeper as it's evolved, right? I think that the Doze is a fun yet still clear reflection of who I am and who I am as a writer. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Even
yeah.
though that wasn't really the intent. I just couldn't write something that was nonsense, you know,
Right.
which is what we originally wanted, but none of us could. And I think that's kind of speaks to who we are, but it's about more than that. It brought on a life of its own, even though our intent was to make it not about origins and just about blood and killing and stuff like that. But we couldn't do that because we actually ended up saying, wow, these are actually kind of unique and cool ideas. Let's make it something more than that. So that's how that all happened. Pretty
Awesome.
fucking bizarre story.
But that's
pretty great.
but that's fun. Like there's a story behind it, not just we were sitting there one day with our notebooks. You know what I mean? So there's like this story. And was the guy being serious? The Jared guy? Was he being serious? Or was he like being funny?
Oh no, he was being funny.
Okay. I don't know him, so that's why I was like,
Jared Barbie. So you know he does go by the name JB, and John Baltusberger does not like to be called JB. So
and now we all know. So now we know. Do not call John Baltusberger JB.
Don't do it.
Got it.
Do it.
it was one of those
I feel
things.
like
that
this
just
is a learning podcast today.
it was such an asinine name, John Stabberger, and I'm just like, and it honestly just took on a life of its own. I mean, literally wrote itself. You know what I mean? Because the name kind of says it all. You know, it's a Jewish name. It's got stab in it.
Love it. I love that character. I love everything about it. I love all three characters.
Mhm.
Whole
Me
fucking
too.
series. But he was the perfect place to start. I read that first John Stabberger book and I was hooked. Like I needed to read all of them. I immediately was obsessed because it's just so good. I want to be able to make knives out of my body. I was like, this character's out here living my dream, making knives out of his body and killing fucking Nazis. Like, why can't I have this life?
It's like a release, right? I spend so much time writing all this serious fucking shit that it's like, you know, I want to write something that's a little goofy. Even though I think that the Doze is probably the least goofy of all the stories, it gives me the opportunity to just be something different.
Right? Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You know, it's like a fake avatar or a catfish in a dating profile, right? I get this opportunity to be someone completely different from myself, and I love that because I usually only write characters that are somewhat based somehow and can be traced back to me and my feelings, you know? So it's been a...
You mean you've never had anybody raped by a lion before? That's weird. Okay, well, never mind. I haven't either.
I thought that
I read that and
all the time.
I read that and I was like, this is fucking greatness. I don't know why that scene stuck with me. And I'm just like, no, they're not raping lions. The lions are the rapers, guys. Focus on what I'm saying.
And another exclusive detail is that, okay, first of all, I think you guys know that we're actively recruiting a new member to the team for the second season. We're working on that. We've gotten a lot of great submissions and I'm pretty excited. Some of them are just awesome. Like really awesome, like might be better than the core 3 psych. But we got that going. And then my next Doze story is not going to be written from the POV of the Doze.
Interesting.
But it's not going to be written by the POV of the villain either. You'll see. It's first person POV, but it's a different take because if you read the second Doze, Concrete Christmas, you know that he's been captured.
Yeah, he's in a really bad spot.
Yeah. So
eventually
I'll get around to writing.
Why are you gonna do me like this, Drew?
One day.
He's like, guess
He's
what?
like, spoiler.
Here's how it's gonna
coming
be,
before
and I
2030.
haven't written it yet, and now you have to wait.
I-
Marian.
I have to write it. It's got to come out on March 1st, so I have to write it like this week.
Oh yeah, you probably should do that.
Yeah.
It's not like he has anything else to do.
I'll just drop it on Baltusberger to edit like on the 28th of February. Here you go, dude. I already got the cover. And I think that Anna has done such an outstanding job on these covers, right? I mean,
oh my God, yes.
The characters are just amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she's done a crazy job bringing him to life, and I love that. I think she also just absolutely captured Hoop 100%.
Oh, without a doubt.
Exactly how I imagined him in my mind.
Yeah,
no
it's a crazy thing that the character was really developed, look and feel around Stephen Root's character from Office Space. Kind of what wanted him to really look like that. Like if we ever do get the Hoop series into production for a film or television, Stephen Root's the only person I want to contact. You know what I mean?
Oh
It's like he's just so perfect for the role.
Oh my God.
Well, there we go.
I'm like imagining it in my mind and I'm having a blast.
Right?
Well, I gotta say, like, I started my TikTok thing on a whim back in August, and I had been at it for 30 days and I was having a good time. And then all of a sudden, through Books of Horror on Facebook, I discovered Godless Horrors. And I was like so intrigued, and I got in there and I started exploring, and I just got so into it, and it really changed my ability to access what I was looking for, because I am a poor bitch, and having the ability to access all of these amazing stories for such minimal amounts of money was hugely changing, like life-changing for me right there. Well, then I made that little commercial for 31 Days of Godless at Halloween time, just for shits and giggles, because I loved the platform and I wanted to do something.
I love that, by the way.
After that was when you guys noticed my existence. And from that point forward, everything blew up for me. Everything changed. You guys pulled me into the Godless family, and my whole life was transformed. Like, look at where we are. Look at what we're doing now. And like
crazy,
this
right?
whole community and this family of friends that I have, none of this would have happened. None of this would have happened if I hadn't made that goofy little 31 days commercial, and you, Drew, hadn't noticed it and been like, this girl's fun. Let's take her under our wing. And now
Let's
my
party.
whole life is different. My whole life is different.
You know what's weird is now Christina's trying to turn me against you, which I have resisted
I did.
doing.
God.
I did. I even
God.
like PayPal
Such a
him $1.25,
But
and I was
Christ.
like, Drew,
You can never tear us apart.
turn.
We
turn
can't be
away.
we can't
We
be torn
can't.
apart. We are symbiotic creatures. I
Yeah.
told Sean Hawker yesterday, when one mom gets an arc,
Pac-Man.
other mom does not get an arc, that other mom dies. Like we cannot not be given the same things. We are one human now. But you handle everything about Godless Horrors all by yourself, and that's just absolute madness.
You're
So,
taking my question, Marian.
I'm sorry, you can have the next one.
Question,
I want to
Keith.
know the answer. I want to know the answer to this. Look, he is tearing us apart. Get out of here, Stepek. You're done. You're done. You're fired. What do you wish that we, as the fan base, the godless consumers, what do you wish that we, as the fans and the readers, but also the authors who come to you and submit, all of us who consume and submit to this platform, what do you wish we knew?
What do you mean? New in what
Are
way?
there things that you wish we were more aware of, that we take for granted, that it would just be nice if we had more of an awareness about? Is there anything about it? Because you do this all by yourself, man.
Well, I mean, I know, but
it's heavy.
It's unfair of me to put any of my concerns or.
So diplomatic. Diplomatic.
Well, I mean, I can be non-diplomatic. I mean, you know,
we won't make you do that. You can be diplomatic.
I think we all know that the purpose of this is to be a united community.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And it pisses me off when people don't participate. That's as simple as I can say. I can't make anyone do it. I can't tell people to do it. It should be what they want to do. You know what I mean? But if people don't, this whole thing fails.
Yes.
End of story. End of
Yes.
story. Right?
Yes.
I mean, I once again, I'm not going to fucking bitch and moan about it, because I think you guys both know that I'm not making a fucking penny off this, right? And
that's the even crazier part of
Yeah.
all of this. You've invested so much time and energy into something that you're not
And money.
profiting
well,
from.
I just I need people to play, right? I need people to participate, because just like I said on Lucy and Martin on SC's podcast. It's like, if we lose it, we get scooped. Someone else comes up with it. There's a corporate version of it, and just be, all you've got to do is participate, man. Don't promote your own shit only.
Yes.
I promote everyone. Do I promote my own shit? Fuck yeah, I do. But you know what? I promote everybody else's shit every single day.
Every single day.
Every single fucking day. And it's not a lot to ask. But without that unification and people helping each other within the community and fucking reaching out to other authors and doing stuff for them and shit like that, it's going to come back to you. So it's not a fucking hassle, right? It's not like they're going to turn their back on you after you help them.
Right.
It's a fucking two-way street. But without that, we got fucking nothing, man. We got fucking nothing.
I'm going to jump on my little soapbox here too, because I feel like we also, as a community, especially those of us who are lucky enough to feel like we are within the Godless family, we have to move beyond Facebook. We have to get out of just Facebook, because right now we are promoting to each other. No one else is seeing it. And, you know, like what I said earlier, my fan base on TikTok is teenage girls. So if we're going to have indie extreme pick up and get carried on from generation to generation, who do we need to be targeting? The kids, the young people. These young girls are so into this. That's your next generation. These young women are going to pick this up and carry it forward, but you have to promote to them. Like they're the ones who need that information. We all know what we're all doing. We're all a big family. We have to get out. We have to get out of the echo chamber.
I think it goes beyond just the expanding platforms. I think that it's got to be a personal decision and writing career step forward for people to get involved, man. It's just like, you know, and I hate bitching about this topic, and I know I bitch about it a fucking lot, but it's just like, it chaps my fucking ass that the same people bend over fucking backwards like every single day. And I'm not saying me, I'm saying the same people, and we all know who the fuck I'm talking about, right? And then someone comes along, they want to fucking drop their fucking buck, it comes out. Not only do they not fucking promote themselves for whatever fucking reason, because they think that the platform is supposed to be doing all the promotion for them, they never fucking promote anyone else's shit, dude. And it's like, is it gonna kill you to not talk about yourself for one fucking day? It doesn't kill me, and I'm a fucking egomaniac, dude, right?
But I mean, if you think about it, it's literally you push a button, you just hit share, and it's shared, and that's it.
That's
it's
the thing,
all
Christina.
Done for you.
But I mean, I do get why some people don't want to share some stuff. That's
sure. And just like you said in the other interview, and I get that, but at the same time, like Ben Azrite, or Arzate, I'm sorry, just posted. Yeah, he just posted his book on Godless. There is nothing godless about that book. There, there's no, it's not horror in the horror idea. You know what I mean? So
that's not what Godless is about either. Like, I think people don't
I think
understand.
people are
right.
Because they get so tied up in the name and the imagery that they don't want to look beyond that and look at this as a collective of independent creatives, right? But that's what this is. I want to definitely explore extending the reach into fantasy and science fiction and stuff like that, because it's not just about horror, man. And
right.
A lot of these authors aren't just writing horror. Ben's the perfect example of someone who writes this really fucking, offbeat,
bizarro. Yeah.
It's just one of those things that people need to think about that. And like I also said 1,000 times about the professor, it's like, I didn't think that was going to be fucking successful,
Oh, wow.
And it's like one of those things. It's because people are starting to go down a road where they're looking for new shit. And that's why experimental's taking off right now, right? Wilburn just came out with the experimental piece. Lucy had her experimental piece during 31 days.
Loved it.
Baltusberger does it all the time. Professor does it. It's like people are, and I'm not discrediting splatterpunk or extreme or folk horror or whatever. It's just that people are gravitating towards these newer ideas, which is going to happen in any community to begin with. And I think it's important that, that people start thinking more like that. If you want to write a science fiction story, do it, dude. I'll put it out. I have no problem with that. It is a horror centric platform, right? We know that it can be a lot more.
Yeah. It's all about evolution. Just because it starts as one thing doesn't mean it can't grow into something much bigger and better.
Right.
We all
it's got to
start
start somewhere. Yeah.
And I mean, Amazon started as just a bookstore,
Right.
you know?
I remember buying from Amazon when they were just a bookstore. It was a good place to get cheap textbooks for college. Now I got a pair of jeans today. So like, what the hell?
I just think that's is participation. And yeah, I know that I'm not saying anything new to you guys, and I know that I fall back on this fucking poor little me bullshit but that's
It's
not
not.
how it's not how I feel. I don't feel like I'm being forced to do anything, or I'm being forced to help anybody or anything like that. So if I am coming off as a fucking crybaby, I don't mean to.
I don't think that at all.
I just have so much fucking passion for it, you guys, and it kills.
You can tell that. I mean, you give your
kills me.
time, you give your money, you give, literally probably your blood, sweat, and tears. And if someone can't participate in some way, shape, or form besides talking about their own book or just their buddy book, you know what I mean? Then fuck them, in my opinion. And
but that's also kind of the wrong attitude, Christina, because we want to be supportive of people and their decisions. And I think that standing behind these people and trying to show them the way, of course, there's some people I can fucking beat over a head with a brick 1,000 times and they're never going to get it.
Right. And I think that's kind of what I.
And it's always this kind of half attempt to kind of inject themselves into the conversation 2 days before their book comes out. It's like, dude, where the fuck have you been? And I always go back to 31 Days of Godless because that's what this should be. Everyone was playing fucking ball, dude.
Yeah.
Everyone was playing ball. And it wasn't only because Christina and I were fucking throwing out a giveaway every single fucking day. It was about more than that. It was because there was this sense of community around something fucking new called 31 Days of Godless. That was this seemingly crazy fucking idea. Can we pull this off? Release like 60 some books in a month.
It was insane.
We did get through it.
I read and reviewed every single fucking book. And it goes back to what you said, Drew, about the passion for it. Like the energy of this community. I am a full-time registered nurse. I work 40 plus hours a week. I have 3 children. I have a chronically ill husband. And yet every single extra minute I have out of my day, I am reading, I am networking, I am doing TikToks, I'm moving Instagram, I'm pushing stuff out for people as much as I can.
And you guys know how much
we're doing a fucking podcast for the community. Like, I don't make a fucking cent. We have spent more money on this project than we will probably ever see come back to us, because this is it's a labor of love. We love this genre. We love this community, from Godless Horrors to Books of Horror on Facebook, like everybody who's involved. We love it, and we want to see it go to the heights
without a doubt
it deserves to be at, because it brings us so much joy.
Well,
so that's
Marian,
why we have these soapboxes that we jump on. We're like, you need to participate, you need to help promote each other, you need to move outside of Facebook, we need to get the younger kids, we need to speak to the young women who really are, they're the next step. They really are. I cannot emphasize that enough. But we come on, guys, if you want to have success and you want to move forward in big ways, like, these are the things we've got to do.
Yeah. And that's exactly why it's frustrating. Right. You know what I mean? And that's why I get crybaby about it, because I can fucking feel it, man. I can fucking touch it.
There's been a huge renaissance over the last year. And I think the COVID pandemic had a lot to do, because a lot of creative work happened in that time that everyone was stuck at home. And now they found this vibe. Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
Marian, even as much as I say I can fucking touch it and I can feel it and shit like that, it's
Still not there. Yeah.
it's still it's we're not even fucking close, man. It's just like
oh, but we're moving.
I don't know.
We're moving.
1 inch at a time.
Yeah.
You know,
But
you
we
see,
have to
you
have
see,
others help us.
I don't want to be all fucking rainy days and bullshit like that. It's just like that. I said it in the other interview as well, the Lucy and Mark one. It's just like if it all feels like the right thing and it all feels like the right time, right? So let's not fuck it up.
yeah, no,
Let's not
yeah.
fuck it up.
Right.
We have something, and I'm not saying this because I'm pounding my chest and saying I created something that's going to change this, because that's not the case, right? The fact is that there's this community that's transformed into something that's different than any other fucking literary community, and something different that no one else fucking has. So let's fucking go with that.
Yes.
And let's
Yes,
fucking get
yes.
behind each other. It's
Absolutely.
I don't know, you guys. I'm sorry. I totally didn't want to make this a downer fucking interview.
No, and it's not, and that's the thing, is it's almost as if, you know, you have done this diplomatically. I'm not as diplomatic as you are. That's why I should never be allowed in public, because I'm a huge raging bitch bag. But it's almost as if you're screaming into a void. You know what I mean? Like,
It feels that way a lot, and you know that's really kind of nothing new. You know what I mean? But it's still there, and it's like, I'm not saying I'm gonna fucking say fuck this shit, dude. I'm done with this. We know that's not gonna happen. We know that I'm dedicated to it, and I have to do it. And whatever I have to do to continue to make it happen, I'm gonna do. You know, but I mean, if that means that I have to do more work outside of this and things like that, that's just the way it's got to be, right? Without participation and everyone on board and everyone promoting each other and everyone promoting this thing called indie horror, it's a fucking waste of time.
Well, I think we have a really great crew already established, but it is there is a sense of urgency that I feel for this, because I think we're at a point where the momentum is good and the momentum is big, and it feels like kind of an all hands on deck situation, especially when I see the passion that the younger generations are starting to demonstrate for indie horror, especially indie extreme. Now is the time. And if we don't catch them now, they're going to move on to the next big thing. If we don't give them what they're looking for, they're going to find something else. So now's the time. Now's the time. All hands on deck. Let's do it, people. Let's grab them.
Just like I said, Marian, it's like fucking, for the most part, in October, everyone was on deck. Everyone was fucking participating. And that
was crazy.
That was what it should be. It was such a powerful thing. And as much as I was working during that time, and so were all you, excuse me, I'm burping, I don't know why. Well, so were all of us. It's like, you know, that's the prototype of what we should be doing, you know.
Right.
And I knew shit was going to fall off in November, and I was pretty sure stuff was going to continue to fall off a little bit in December. That's why I did the anti-Christmas thing. But you know, things are picking up again. And the February release schedule is just fucking lunacy, right? It's totally fucking awesome. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know how to say to people, you gotta play. Or you're going to get kicked out of the fucking sandbox, because I don't want that message to resonate with anyone. But it's just like, with some people, no matter how many times I explain it to them, you know, tons of people come to me and they're like, well, dude, you know, why can't I get like an audience like Aaron Beauregard? It's like, because you don't fucking hustle, You don't fucking hustle, number one. Number two, you don't fucking do anything as original as Aaron does. And number three, Aaron supports everybody in the fucking community. Period. And I think he always will, no matter how fucking big he gets. Same thing with Volpe, dude. It's like, that's why. And it's got more to do with the goodwill that they give to others, both those guys, than, you know, having a huge audience or having some super dynamic product, which they both do. But I think that they've managed to build up so much goodwill as kind of being the leaders out of the gate. But they're never going to be too big for their fans. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
And I mean, especially, I mean, Aaron, he'll comment on everything, and it's even commenting and, you know, just saying thanks for sharing.
Engagement.
You know.
Engagement is huge.
Yes.
It's key. It is key.
Engagement's everything.
Yeah. Oh,
Without
100%.
engagement, none of this shit even sees the light of day.
Absolutely.
No.
Well, Drew, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
We didn't do our 4 questions. We didn't do the fast 4.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Let's get to it.
Settle down. It's like, hey, why don't you fucking relax? Let's do the fast 4.
Yeah, let's do the fast 4. Well, you kind of answered this first one right off the bat. Hit him with it, Christina.
Oh, yeah. Which character do you identify with most and why? But you already explained that one.
That would be D from Godless.
Yeah. What other genre do you want to try?
I want to do some sci-fi.
Nice. Do you have any ideas for what you would do in the sci-fi genre?
Yeah, I'm gonna rip off the name of Nick Gray's book, Space Waste, and just do it my own.
Perfect.
You know,
But I think he appreciates the warning. I mean, you're warning him. So
sorry, Nick. I just lifted your awesome title. I've actually got Space Waste. I promised I was going to read it over break, but I didn't. I'm going to do it. I'm really excited for this book. I think that Nick is one of these guys that I think he's going to make it because he's got a big heart, and you know, and
super nice guy.
I think and I think that means a lot, and people really like his writing. So I like Nick, and I would never steal your shit, Nick. Don't worry. But I do want to do some sci-fi eventually. I think Poser was kind of like my first kind of like venturing into something really outside of horror. And the Call Me Hoop series overall has got this real kind of underlying theme of technology and how technology came to Earth from heaven.
And what is the favorite story you have written?
You mean just overall?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit country.
I like that too. I like that one too.
I like. I think I like it just a little bit more than Knuckle Supper because, like I said before, it's like it doesn't take itself 100% seriously, but then it's got that real big punch at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh yeah. I just read that one 2 days ago. All right, Marian, last one.
If you could co-author with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
Mark Twain.
That's a good one.
That makes sense.
It really does. It really does. Like it's dead on.
That tracks.
I think that even though strangely enough, Of Mice and Men is my favorite book of all time.
Oh yeah.
But Twain is my favorite author of all time. And my favorite horror author of all time is Barker.
Oh, well, Clive Barker. He really, an icon.
He's at the bar too, you know?
Well, he was the start of extreme horror, honestly. Like, he really kicked it off.
No one's ever going to catch him.
No
one's ever going to catch him. He surpassed like everyone right out of the gate, and no one's ever going to catch him. He's just not even catch him.
Yeah, no. I could listen to Clive Barker talk all day long. I could listen to that voice.
Oh, governor!
For hours. his low, gravelly British accent. He's just amazing.
I'm gonna come up with this new character. It's gonna be like the anti-professor. He's gonna talk like I'm gonna read stories in Cockney.
Accent.
Hello. So this lady, she goes into a bar and
That's all of his own audiobook recording.
he's gonna be the janitor. He's gonna be the janitor.
Nice.
The chimney
Nice.
sweep. The chimney sweep instead of the professor.
Hey, if people want to contact you, what's the best way for them to do that? How do you prefer that?
As far as like authors and publishers,
Authors, publishers, fans, readers,
Fans.
reviewers.
authors and publishers, creators at godless.com. Anyone who wants to reach out with me can just hit me at drew@godless.com.
Awesome. And for more information on Drew's full bibliography, please refer to today's show notes or come join us on the Mothers of Mayhem official Facebook group, of which Drew Stepek happens to be a member.
What?
We do have a merch store now with many items that actually feature our logo that Mr. Stepek designed for us, since he is the father of Mayhem. And you can find the link for that on my personal link tree or through our pinned posts on the FB group. And I'm popping new designs on there all the time. So anything that we bring in from that automatically goes to making this podcast better and supporting the community. So don't forget to vote for the 666 awards at 666awards.com.
Yep.
And don't be deterred by the dopey, dumb, ridiculous fucking name.
I love it.
I think it's great. You can find our links for our various social media accounts in our show bio. And as always, you can send your questions, comments, or insults to our email address, m.o.m.extremepodcast@gmail.com.
Mom, extreme podcast at gmail.com. Do not forget to
That's
send
craisins.
dildos. Yeah, it is crazy. And y'all better not forget to send dildos to Christina. This is imperative. We talk about
Please
this
don't.
every week. Please DM me if you need her mailing address. It's very,
Yeah,
very,
'cause-
very important.
I'll give it to a moose
like the moose
or a bear.
that-
Moose and bears.
and
Do you see mooses and bears a lot? Moose?
All the time.
Geese? Really?
All the time. Yeah, they come
Caribou?
up. They actually headbutt our houses when they smell us cooking and stuff. They're
That's
very
nice.
aggressive right now.
What about like snow leopard? You see snow leopards?
No snow leopards.
Damn it.
I know. I know.
You ever see a Yeti? Or a
No.
Wendigo?
No, not yet. But
Skinwalkers?
I can't confirm or deny. We're on a military base.
Deny.
So we're on a military base. So I can't confirm or deny.
Real quick, we have to give a thank you again to singer-songwriter Amigo the Devil for allowing us to use his song Hungover in Jonestown as our theme. And I told you on the last episode, y'all should be listening to Amigo the Devil if you're an extreme horror fan. Like, you just need to get on that.
I don't like the name. It seems satanic to me.
I'm sure
It's almost like it goes with this godless thing.
issues with that, Drew.
I just don't like that. It's like I love when mothers say stuff like that. I just don't like that.
I don't like
Yeah.
that. No.
Oh.
I don't like that language.
I just don't care for that.
It makes me feel dirty.
Christina, who's
Yes,
up
ma'am.
for our next double whammy interview episode?
Mr. Kevin Sweeney.
Oh boy.
Sweeners,
Oh, boy.
talk a lot about bananas. He loves people
Kevin
talking about
Sweeney.
bananas.
Oh yeah, we'll talk so much about bananas.
Seriously.
Vagina bananas.
Nice.
Fucking dirtball.
She's something.
Thank you. Of course, in between our double mom episodes, we are bringing you the special installments, Christina's Intimate Chat with Mom series, my discussion panel series this season, Hidden Voices of Horror. So get hyped for that, kids. Drew, we love you so
much.
I love you guys too.
Oh my, you're the best.
Again, I'm sorry for being a downer. It's just like
You're not a
it's not a
downer.
downer.
These are important conversations to have.
We have to have these conversations, Drew. We have
Yes,
to.
they're important. We
Get
love
these little-
you.
Get these
Damn
little
it.
assholes in line. Get them in line. God damn it.
And until next time, go raise some hell, children.
Make your book mommies
No.
proud.
I don't like that.
I don't care for that.
Life is a joke, and death is the punchline. Oh, la, 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 la. Life is a joke, and death is the punchline. Oh, la, 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 la. This life is a joke, and death is the punchline. The punchline.